Hello, everyone. It's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. So on April 19th, the EPA and the Treasury Department announced the list of vehicles that will qualify for the tax credit if placed into service after April 18th. Now, remember, before April 18th, any vehicle that was made in the United States, final assembly was in North America, would qualify without the requirements for the critical battery components and the critical mineral component. But then afterward, you did have to meet the criteria to have a certain percentage, which is about 40 for 2023, and it increases every year for the critical minerals in the battery. Now, what we expected, or what many people expected, including myself, was that many of the cars would meet the battery component proportion and get 3750, but they would not be able to meet the critical mineral component. That seems to not be the case. So maybe they're interpreting the critical mineral component a little bit more loosely to let more cars qualify, but surprisingly, a lot of vehicles qualify. And here is the official list, and you can get this from fueleconomy.gov. And you just say, I'm going to place in service after April 18th. So vehicles placed in service between this time, that was everyone. This is after April 18th, and now, since it's late April, early May is coming up, you're definitely not going to be able to place it in service retroactively. So here are the vehicles, and it's a way more than I expected. So the Cadillac Lyriq qualifies as long as you have you pay less than 80,000 for it. And then the Blazer EV, which is a new vehicle that's coming out in 2024. The Bolt and the Bolt EUV, they get the full credit. The Equinox, which is another vehicle that's coming out in 2024, gets it, and then the new Silverado, which will be released, also qualifies. The Pacifica plug-in hybrid, and then Ford E-Transit, F-150, and the Mustang Mach-E and the Escape plug-in hybrid. The Jeep Grand Cherokee Wrangler, and then Lincoln Aviator and Corsair, both Rivians, the R1S and the R1T, they both qualify if you provided you pay less than 80,000, but they get only half, as well as many of the Ford vehicles get only half. Then Tesla, all the Teslas maintain their full credit except for the standard range that's using the LFP batteries from China. They only get half the credit. And then surprisingly, the Volkswagen ID4s all get it. Okay, so that's it. That's the entire list of vehicles that qualify for any tax credit after April 18th, 2023. Which makes the Bolt and the Bolt EUV still a screaming good deal. And if you look at the Bolt EUV, the Bolt and the Bolt EUV, they have a starting price of 26 and 2780, which means that after the tax credit, you could theoretically get a Bolt EV for less than $20,000 if you don't include tax and stuff, which is an incredible deal in today's prices. The issue with the Bolt and the Bolt EUV is that there's limited supply, and if you live in a city or an area with people that are willing to buy EVs, you're going to be hard pressed to find them, and the dealerships will mark up the prices, and you won't be able to get these at their MSRP price. If you can get it at all. Now, what I've heard is that if you go to rural parts of America, there are Bolt EVs and Bolt EVs sitting on the lot, and they will sell them to you for MSRP or very close to it, a little above or a little below MSRP. But in major cities, especially like in California, you're going to have a very hard time finding a Bolt EV or a Bolt EUV. And if you do find it, you're definitely not going to be paying MSRP for it. If you guys have heard differently, tell me your experiences if you've kind of looked around for a Bolt EV or Bolt EV. I've looked around in my area, and you just cannot find one, at least not for any reasonable price. The other thing is Tom, one of our community members, posted this on Facebook, and it says, so this must have been an email that he got. Thomas, we appreciate you for being a Bolt EUV owner. So Tom obviously bought a Bolt EUV. And Tom, tell us in the comments, did you pay over MSRP? When did you get it? How did you get it? We appreciate you entrusted us with your electric vehicle purchase experience because you're so important. We want to bring you firsthand news that we will no longer be producing the Bolt EV and EUV after the end of the year. Rest assured that the support you have come to expect will continue even though we're ending production. And if you're interested in purchasing a new 2023 model, you can still do so. So sounds like Tom must have bought a 2022 or earlier model, so before maybe all these all the tax incentives were there. But anyway, I think these were great vehicles. They didn't have like they're not they're not the best looking car. They don't have the most range. It's 259, but I think that's plenty of range for most people, honestly. And they don't have all the frills or anything. The Bolt EV, you could get Super Cruise on it and is open pilot comma AI compatible. So that I think that's a really good car. The Bolt EV actually, I think in my opinion, is a better looking vehicle. For $1,000 more, I definitely would buy this. It's slightly bigger, slightly better. It's definitely better looking in my opinion. It has a little bit less range, but otherwise, I think it has a few more features. And having it Open Pilot compatible, I think, is a good deal. Now, why are they discontinuing it? It kind of makes sense because they're moving over to the Ultium platform, and this was announced by the CEO on Tuesday, March 25th. I mean, April 25th. And what they're doing is they're going to spend $4 billion to overhaul the Orion assembly plant in Orion Township, Michigan. And then they're going to reopen it in 2021 to make the Silverado and GMC Sierra. And they're going to triple the number of workers there to build those vehicles. So it makes sense. They're moving to this Ultium architecture, and the Bolt is not going to be using the Ultium architecture. And the vehicle that I think is going to take over the affordability mantle will be the Equinox EV. Because if you look at this vehicle, and I think this is a pretty nice looking vehicle. I like it. And it has 300 miles of range. And it's going to start around $30,000. So I don't know if around $30,000 means like $28,000 or $32,000 or $33,000. That's like that's a big area. It's a swing. When they say around 30,000, I bet it means over 30,000, because if they were planning on being like 29,000, I think they would have said it as starting below $30,000, because that would be a little more attractive. I suspect this means that it's going to be low 30s, which after the $7,500 tax credit means that it is going to be in the mid 20s range, which I think would be a good deal. So this is probably a pretty good deal for people looking for an affordable EV, and it's on the Ultium platform, which means they're going to be supporting that platform for quite a while. So interesting to do that. But anyways, the main news I wanted to bring you guys is this is the official list, and I'll put a link here to the official government website that shows this, so you can kind of reference it for yourself in case there is a possibility that more manufacturers apply to get on this list, and this list may be updated with new vehicles after this video is made. So I will put a link to this, and you guys can check which ones qualify. Now, remember, this is a tax credit, so you don't get this at the time of purchase. You put it when you file your taxes, you do this, and you have to have a minimum tax burden of $7,500. Like if you only pay $5,000 in taxes, they're not going to give you $7,500 back. They're only going to give you the $5,000 you paid in taxes. So if you have to have a tax burden of at least a federal tax credit of at least $7,500. If you don't, then you're not gonna realize the entire credit amount. I think in the future they are thinking about making it a point of purchase credit, which I think would be helpful for a lot more people. But I don't think that's being implemented, at least in the near future. But yeah, this list is much bigger than expected, and you see that if you want to get a Bolt or a Bolt EUV, this is going to be the last year you're going to be able to get it. And next year, I think the most affordable EV is going to be the Equinox, unless Tesla keeps dropping the prices on their cars. They keep dropping the prices, and if they drop the prices of a Model 3 anymore, it may become the cheapest EV out there with the full tax credit. Okay, I wonder why the Model 3 long range is not on the list. Maybe that doesn't qualify at all. That doesn't seem to make sense. Um, okay. Well, anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and hope you have a great day.